if you are having a hard time saving $10 when you're making $100, more than likely you will not save $100 when you're making $10,000. I'll start budgeting when I make more money, or I'll start saving more once I have a better job, or when I'm in a better position.
It's a fortune-telling thought. You're not a fortune teller. A lot of points, but also a lot of debt.
They won't make any money if they gave you more points than the money that you're spending.
Yeah.
We love lifestyle. We love the way things are. We don't want to change the way that things are.
Of course, we all want the outcome, but the process of getting there is what most people don't realize that they have to give up.
We were saving for our first home when friends would go out to lunch or dinner, and we would get so many invites, and we would literally have to say no because it was not in the budget.
It was a 5-year plan, but we actually did it in 2 years.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Pillay Place Podcast. Today, we're talking about what gets in the way of financial freedom. And I don't have stats for this just yet. I have a few stats, but simply said, and I'm guilty of it. We are both guilty of it. We constantly see a lot of folks do this. What happens in our finances majority of the time is there is these subliminal thoughts or belief systems, a way of life that we have developed in our habit system that prevents us from succeeding in our finances. And it's a big hindrance. And what Van and I will do today is talk about these. How to identify them is the most important piece because we're actually most of the time blind to it. And two is, once you can identify it, you know how to what to do to kind of get rid of it so that you can succeed with your finances. So I wrote it down as a mental trap. Sometimes these are all mental trap, and it typically is in the mind. And a scripture that comes up from the Bible is Romans 12:2. Romans 12:2 simply states that when you actually change the way you think, you renew your belief system, your thought patterns, is how you're able to find the perfect will of God. So in order to find the perfect will of God, you need to actually change the way you think. It's a renewal process. And the Bible actually calls this a transformation. So before we get into this, did you have anything to add?
No, I'm curious what you're going to say.
Yeah, so I wrote down 3 thoughts that a lot of people have, and let's just get right into it. One of the thoughts that constantly hinder us from succeeding in our finances is, I'll start budgeting when I make more money. Or I'll start saving more once I have a better job, okay? Or when I'm in a better position. And reality is, statistically, I can show you how this happens, but if you are having a hard time saving $10 when you're making $100, more than likely you will not save $100 when you're making $10,000. And here's why I say that. If you look at the America's population, you look at income, 75 to 80% of people that make less than $50,000 a year live paycheck to paycheck. Okay, so budgeting is a little bit tighter for them, right? Wouldn't you say that? For those that make 50 to 100K, for them it's 65% of the people live paycheck to paycheck. The higher the income goes, the lower percentage of people that make paycheck to paycheck. But reality is, if you're not saving at a lower income bracket, the statistics for you to actually save in a higher income bracket is way low. It's near impossible because you just haven't learned how to manage the little that you have to begin with. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So any comments on that?
Well, I thought it's interesting that you said, I'll start budgeting or I'll start blank when I make more money, right? It's actually a fortune-telling thought.
You do tell. What does that mean?
Well, it's a fortune-telling thought. You're not a fortune teller, right? It's a trick. It's one of those very settled thought distortions.
Yeah, or in other words, it's a lie that has entered our belief system.
Yeah. it's like I'll start doing something.
Once this happens, you actually put a condition on it. And that's a hard condition. I think if you just start, you let the results come, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just it's a thought distortion. It's what you're trying to tell yourself that you will versus doing it right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So when we have helped folks do their finances in the form of a budget, right? Or when we do our own, one of the things that Van and I do is we write down our income and expenses. And if you can imagine an Excel spreadsheet, it's a long spreadsheet with each line item, like, okay, kids' books and utilities and all these things. But long story short is one of the things that we constantly ask ourselves is how much are we spending on this? We look at the actuals, is what we call it. For those that are familiar with finances, you look at your actual expenses. And then the question that we ask ourselves is this appropriate, right? Is it okay for us to be spending more than $500 eating out, right? Is it appropriate for us to be spending more than $1,000 eating out? And we don't compare ourselves to others. What are other families doing? We may talk about it, but what we actually do is we look at a logical thing, like what comes first? We obviously have to pay the mortgage first, right? We need a roof over our head. And then we need food, right? And then maybe would come dining out. We don't, like, we simply break it down into what comes first, what comes second, what comes third.
Yeah, I think one of the hard things that people struggle with is the outcome and process resistance. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I was just talking to a friend and I just go, well, have you done a budgeting? And then the friend would tell me, well, it's not the budgeting. It's just, we just need to make more money.
Well, that's the
Right.
the first one that I mentioned, yeah.
And I go, okay, so what is outcome and process resistance? It's the journey of getting to your goal.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we talk about, say, I want to save an X amount, like, I don't know, an extra $1,000 a month,
Yeah.
right? The process of saving that gives me a lot of resistance. It's like, I want the outcome. Of course, we all want the outcome.
Yeah.
You know, we set that goal and we want the outcome. But the process of getting there is what most people don't realize that they have to give up,
Yeah.
right? So, okay, that means, gosh, I have to cut out my nails.
Yeah, you
know,
like
I
talking
have
about
to-
the nails, but it's a big
I have
one.
to cut, well, because we get our nails done, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, we get our nails done, or like, oh, that means no more random trips to Starbucks or whatever it is. I can't just like something and buy it
Yeah.
out of my feelings, right?
Right.
That means in that whole month, I have to constantly resist. It reminds me of resist the enemy and it shall flee, right? I have to constantly resist. It's literally like those resistant bands. I don't like resistant band. I'd rather lift a lot heavier than those stupid resistant bands because it's fighting against you.
Yeah.
And that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to resist and you're trying to hold on to that.
Yeah.
It's the resistant band is constantly pulling you back the other oppositionally, right? Like on the
Yeah.
other side. Versus weights is just heavy. You know, you're not fighting against your weight.
Right.
You're just lifting the weight. But the resistant piece is like it's constantly pulling you, especially if it's, you know, in your head, like, oh, it's gonna feel really good. Oh, that's gonna look really pretty on you. That's gonna make you feel really nice. And that's, you know, those are the nagging, and that's what you are resisting.
Yeah. Let me use another example just to kind of bring it home a little bit more. We've constantly heard, and I mean, I've been guilty of this, is that where I make the excuse about, oh, well, I gotta eat, so it's okay for me to spend, you know, excess money eating out, when reality is I don't have to. But here's the resistance. When initially we were doing our budget, my resistance was really in, because you said, well, we can cook at home, And my idea was, well, no, there's not enough time. That's a resistance, right?
Another resistance is like the process of, even if we're talking about, well, let's stick with finance, but like you want to save that $1,000 a month, right?
Right.
The process means, planning ahead of time, meal prepping
That's
ahead
right.
of time. Like those are all of the things that's like, I don't want to do that. That's actually what you have to do. And you can be resistant towards it. Or the I don't have the time to do this. That's a resistance.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. Or and then at some point you just keep saying whatever excuse you can come up with. It's
Yeah.
like, but this, but that.
You're hitting a
but this.
wall.
You're hitting a wall, and you come to a point you realize you just don't want to change. And the scripture literally says, renew your mind. There is a renewal needed in order for you to succeed at this, right?
Yeah.
And we see it quite often. I mean, even I remember that one time when we had all that credit card debt, and my belief system was that I need the credit card points.
That's a lot of people, actually.
Yeah, so we'll just credit card it because we need the credit card points. What about the credit card points, right? And then you have a mounting debt, and you're like, how did this get here?
A lot of points, but also a lot of debt.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You'll never have more points than your debt. Like that's a credit card fallacy. That is not. They won't make any money. They won't make any money if they gave you more points than the money that you're spending.
Yeah.
So, they may give you more points, but it's still lesser value than what you're spending.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's they need to make money. So that is one of them. Here's another one, and behind this, the idea is folks not taking responsibility. And what do I mean by that? Have you ever heard of the phrase called, well, money is the root of all evil, right? And the truth is, that's not what the Bible says. The Bible actually says that for the love of money, it's the love of money that's the root of all evil, right? We just talked about love and relationships. It's actually loving God and loving others is the commandment. We don't love object money, right? Money is a resource, just like a lot of things are resources. So long story short is when folks make that comment, behind that sometimes is this idea that if I just can ignore the concept of money and the concept of saving and budgeting and doing all these things, right? AKA, I don't take responsibility.
Yeah, I agree. I think especially when it comes to money, though, like people have a lot of like shame, like it somehow is their whole identity,
Yeah,
right? Like
that's true.
how I handle money speaks a lot about me.
Right,
How much money I make says a lot about me.
right.
How what I do with my money says a lot about me, right? And the thing is, money is just a resource.
It is.
It's just a resource. It doesn't say who you are.
No.
However, I think people feel like there's so much, like if you have bad credit or a lot of credit card debt or something like that, there's this like shame, and that's what they're trying to avoid. They're not trying to avoid the problem. They're trying to avoid the feeling of shame. If I have to face this Excel sheet, I'm going to feel so much shame, and that just feels too bad, so I'm not going to look at it, and I'm not going to worry about it.
Yeah, I mean,
If I don't think about it, it might not be there.
yeah.
you
I
know?
mean, reality is it's not hardly ever do I see people out of curiosity open up a budget sheet. It's always like, all right, I got to do this. And I
Yeah.
wonder what it says.
Well, you were teaching a class at the Bible college,
Yes.
and you had them pull out their Excel sheet,
Yes.
and you had a lot of like married couples go up to you and said, I've been trying to tell my husband to do this for years,
Yeah.
right? And it's because they don't want to see it. It's like they have to face the shame, and so
The reality.
the reality of it.
Yeah.
And it can feel overwhelming.
That's right.
But if you take it, like if you kind of minimize what money really is,
Yeah.
it's not, it it's not that scary.
Yeah.
It's just another life problem that we deal with.
I mean, you make a really good point. The point is money is just an object, it's just a resource, right? And doing a budget or following a budget you don't have to be perfect at it,
No.
right? The point is hopefully it reveals underlying behaviors that we have to correct. And once you correct and change it, that's it. You know what to work on.
So we're talking about like outcome resistance.
Yes. So tell me what outcome means. What do you mean by that?
The outcome, so we talk about the process, like the steps to get there is a lot of resistance, right? A lot of things that we need to change and do.
Yeah.
The outcome is, do we really want the outcome? Right?
Is it worth it?
Kind of, yeah. But like, do we really want the outcome, as in, if we want to have all our finances, like everything, we would have to face some type of reality,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We would have, so the couple that came up to you and said, I've been trying to tell my husband to do this for years,
Yeah.
right? He did not want to face the outcome. If he goes and do all his budget, he would have to know exactly how much debt he's in.
Yeah.
And I don't want to, he's probably thinking, I don't want to see that outcome.
Yeah. Or I
I
don't want
want
to,
to know that outcome.
or I don't want to face what needs to change. A lot of us love our lifestyles. We may not love money, but we love lifestyle. We love the way things are. We don't want to change the way that things are.
Yeah. I'm sure we have an episode on change somewhere.
I think we do. Yeah. So we'll post the change episode here in our comment somewhere in the video, somewhere in the video, right where you can comment and give us feedback on this video. But a final point that I wanted to make was the societal pressures, right? Keeping up with the Joneses is the old term. I don't know if people still use it, especially the newer generation.
What does
But
that mean?
keeping up with the touche. So keeping up with the Joneses is what old folks used to say that the young ones, like my wife, don't say anymore. Is where, well, your neighbors have 2 cars each, so we must have 2 cars as well. All my friends have a $1,500 stroller for their babies. So how can I have my $300 Graco, right? And
Nothing's wrong with Graco.
nothing's wrong with Graco. They did not sponsor this, but they can if they want. But long story short is, long story short is that is a real pressure, because it's so.
Why do you think that is? It actually, I mean, one thing I think I'm grateful for is I hear that a lot. It's like, so and so has this, or so and so is doing this, and I am not one to compare myself.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I just want my own things. Like, I don't want it because you have it or you want it. I want it because that's what I want.
Yeah.
And I think everything I want comes from God. And so I'm going to have it.
Yeah. Good for you. Yes.
If there is a desire for
Yes.
a new designer bag, guess what? That's from God. That's
Yes.
what,
Yeah.
But anyways, what do you think
And
that
we do
is?
check everything with God,
We do.
right? And with each other.
Yeah.
I think it's the culture. I actually think the American culture is somewhat that way. Because we live in a free society, we have had the opportunity for, and I don't know how to answer this in one-liner, but simplistically, there's so many cultural hierarchies, right? There's the executive Costco membership, and then there's the regular membership. There's a comparison, right? You could be top of class, or you could be average. My kids are doing all these things, right? Or they're not. You could go to the top 20 schools in the country. You could work at the top 20 firms, like top 20, top this, top that. it's spoken since the beginning. I mean, even if you're not in this country, outside this country, I was raised in Fiji Islands, and they would publish our scores, literally publish our scores for the whole school to see. And if I'm not in the top 5, I have to go home and tell my parents. And when I wasn't, I remember I was 12th one time. I didn't tell them for like a week. Because even if I was an average student, it gets hard once you do get into the top. Then you're like, okay, I'm no longer in the top. Like there's this societal pressure in comparison. Comparison just exists in the world.
But you see, I think that's almost part of the lie.
Yeah.
It's part of the lie.
Of course it is.
Then now you're listening to someone else who is defining how smart you are.
Of course.
Versus what the Lord says about you.
Exactly.
You know, like.
Well, about finances. Let's just go about finances, right?
Yes.
Like you and I, when we started saving, we did our first budget, right? One of the societal pressures you and I had was when friends would go out to lunch or dinner, and we would get so many invites, and we would literally have to say no because it was not in the budget.
That's part of the process.
Yeah. We were like, we can only go out twice. This is their 4th time calling us. Mm-hmm. We can't go.
We even told them.
We told them, this is not in our budget. Yeah, they wouldn't stop texting us. Their budget was fat. Ours wasn't. Like, point being is,
for our home.
we were saving for our first home, and it took a long time. It took 3 years, right, to buy our first home. But it was a process.
It was a 5-year plan, but we actually did it in 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, she remembers, but yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anything else to add?
No, I don't think so.
So let me just recap. The recap here is hopefully simple. There are underlying thoughts and belief systems that hinders us from growing in our finances. The 3 that we really identified is ideas that, like, really just things that I'll start when I have a better job type. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I wanted to add one of the things that could be helpful for that you guys want to try is, say you write down a goal, right? Say the goal is, I want to save an extra $1,000 this month, right? Well, first of all, you want to check if this goal is you trying to be an overachiever, okay? Or is it a realistic goal? Okay,
Yeah.
once we figure that part out, then you want to do a cost-benefit analysis. What are the advantages of this change? And what would be the disadvantages of this change? Like, the disadvantage would mean I would have to say no to eating out X amount of time. A disadvantage, I would have to start planning out my meals and meal prepping. I would have to, those are all the disadvantages that people don't really think about. They think about the outcome, they want the goal, they want to achieve that, but there's a sacrifice that you have to give so that you can achieve that goal.
That's right.
Okay.
Well, very well said. Please subscribe, hit the like button. If you have any comments on this, I know we talk a lot about finances and financial freedom. Please let us know. And thank you for tuning in to the Pillay Podcast.